Live from San Diego, California, this is the San Diego Sports Junkies, a show for fans by the fans, with Josh Taylor, Justin Smead, Jason Eitzmo, and Mike Maciejewski. We're talking Chargers, Padres, and Aztec sports. It's time to let your voice be heard.
What's up, San Diego Sports Junkies? This is a show for fans.
By the fans.
And we have quite, I would say, a plethora of things to talk about today.
Good word.
We have something actually very unique this week. We have all four of us here.
Holy
again.
cow.
Oh, wow.
Right on the calendar, folks.
There is no I in team with this crew.
I don't know how we fit all our equipment here.
A little crammed over here
Yeah,
now.
seriously.
Mikey's back crammed.
Elbow
Elbow
room.
a little small. Yeah, what's going on?
Supercharged, by the way, big winner. First guy into the chat room.
Bastard.
There you go.
As always.
Bad connection on a computer.
He wins nothing, as usual.
Enjoy that 12-pack of nothing, bud.
We would give you something. We just can't afford to give you
We don't have
anything.
anything.
Feel
You know
free,
what? From
feel
now
free
on,
to donate something, and maybe you can win it back.
The first person in the chat room gets to give us something. From
Perfect. Then we're not going to have anybody in there.
Yeah.
It'd be terrible.
So, let's dive into some Aztecs. Aztecs are kind of finding their mojo offensively. I mean, the defense obviously one of the best in the nation, but the offense is starting to come around. Akil Quinn is, continuing to be the offensive force, but Malik Pope is becoming a more constant force, i.e. the sixth man in the rotation. But Mikey has some good information as far as whether or not Malik Pope is one and done. Mike, take it over.
No, guys, I've been scouring the internet, and then I started researching on Malik Pope after that.
And then I got to Malik Pope.
After 5 minutes, I got some Malik Pope. If you know what I'm saying. No, guys, there's been a big debate. You can find a debate everywhere. Is Malik Pope going to bolt for one and done at the end of the year?
Ooh, bad term, bolt.
Yeah, or there's both sides of the coin, but we talked about this, via text the other day. It's people say no, he's not ready. It doesn't matter if he's ready or not. If you're honest with yourself, Kawhi Leonard wasn't ready.
Right.
He didn't have a shot, and we all know the NBA drafts on potential.
Yep.
It's not people are like his stats are too low. Nobody cares. Look
He
how
doesn't start. Nobody cares.
Look how Xavier Thames' stats were. They were amazing.
Right.
He seemed like an NBA prospect. It
Right.
didn't matter. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter.
Right.
But Malik Pope is, 6'10", 6'11" with the hair, can shoot the three, can do amazing things with the basketball. Jason.
Malik Pope, one of the things I was thinking about, I remember, thinking, right now they're predicting him to go anywhere from 14 to 25.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know it's early still,
Yeah.
but they're talking about that, and a lot of times you think, well, why wouldn't he want to come back and so he could get drafted higher? He could maybe work his way up to maybe be a top 5, top 10 draft pick.
Right.
But you think about that, being drafted 14 to 25 actually could be ideal because you can go in, you can get yourself into a really, really good situation.
Right.
And, maybe get yourself on a team that's pretty good already where you're not going to come in and be asked to be
All
the
Kawhi
man.
Leonard.
Right, exactly.
He went to the perfect spot.
That was my exact point. Because
After he was traded once, I believe, right?
Yeah.
When Kawhi Leonard, was getting ready to leave, I was thinking, dude, imagine if he came back and got himself that much better. But can anybody? There's no way it could have worked out more perfect for that guy than going where he went.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think the right situation is what all these guys look for, and Fisher says this every year, or with the years that he knows players have an opportunity to go to the NBA, they evaluate things after the season. They ask experts where they think these guys is stock draft, and then they sit down with their families and they actually have real conversations with these people, saying, "Hey, your kid can make a lot of money, or your kid is just not ready yet."
Right.
For me, in my opinion, I think he's gone after this year, unfortunately. And this is my opinion. I don't know, or I just see stuff on the internet. in my own opinion, going forward, he just keeps getting better and better. If he leads us, and just say we go to the Elite Eight, the Final Four, just somehow, and he's a big factor in that, I think he's gone. And one of the major reasons is he's had injury history, and why would he want to risk getting injured in college again going forward and missing out on that opportunity to make some money for his family and whatnot?
Now, I pose this to you, Mike. Everybody knows his tools. 6'10", can handle the ball. I mean, you see him numerous times, get the defensive rebound, take it up court himself, and finish. Can shoot anywhere on the floor. What's his weakness, for one? And two, take your Aztec hat off, put yourself in his shoes for a moment.
Put your Lobo hat on.
If you get the opportunity, are you gone in your first year, or do you want to stay back one more year and work on a couple things?
So, I mean, the weaknesses he needs to work on, obviously, is still in the defense. He's still he needs to get stronger. He's pretty thin. He needs to become a better rebounder, more aggressive rebounder.
He's actually progressing.
He's progressing. He's still 6'10". So he still has some things to work on. He needs to. I mean, he's not refined by any, by no stretch of the imagination. But if I were him, and I was going to tell you guys, if I were him, I'd probably be gone. But here's the two things you look at: reasons to stay. He knows he can develop another year.
Oh, of course.
A while back when they did an article, his former high school coach said, he really is going to recommend to Malik that he stay one more year because he needs that extra work. He's really close with the freshman group. He loves those guys. I mean, you see them on Instagram. It's the four of them. Yep. They're like brothers.
Yep.
And I think playing with Zylan Cheatham next year would be, it would be a huge thing for him personally. So those are the things that I see. Obviously we all want him to stay, and everybody who says there's reasons he should stay, you're just really just being a San Diego State homer. You want him there,
right?
But the risk. I mean, the reasons he could go. Again, he can get injured. He could, he may or may not improve his draft stock. I think he will because next year he'll be a starter with JJ gone. But it's tough either way. I really don't think it can go wrong. People in the chat room are saying, why would you pass up the money? Staying there you can hurt his prospects. And Supercharged bringing up football, it's a different sport. I mean, it's all potential, and everybody's seeing his potential. And from what you've seen, he's gotten better every game.
Right.
There's no point that you're thinking there's going to be a regression with this kid.
No, there's not.
There's not really a regression looking like it's on the horizon.
Right.
He hasn't plateaued yet.
Not this season, though.
Yeah,
but it could happen next season.
Right, but next year, he's going to average double digits instead of averaging, 6 points a game.
And he'll be a starter for sure.
He'll be a starter.
Now, hindsight, say he does go to the NBA. This team is still loaded, and we got Zylan Cheatham, Broderick Jones, and Jeremy Hemsley coming in as freshmen. Second year freshman for redshirt freshman. But I mean, either or, guys. This is big for San Diego State.
Right.
This attracts guys like this in the future because they can go, wow, I can go to San Diego State and be a one and done if I really think I'm a 5-star top 10 guy and I'm close to home. This presents an opportunity to play on Steve Fisher. Steve Fisher's never had that many one and dones. Fab 5 days, yeah, but talking about Aztec era, not so many.
Well,
I don't think any.
I don't think so any either.
As an Aztec fan, Mike, especially, we're all Aztec fan, of course, but you're like a
diehard.
Yeah, exactly.
Breathe Aztec basketball.
Wouldn't you almost rather, for the Aztecs' future, for the future of recruiting, want him to go to the NBA after going one and done, just because that would maybe get more big recruits to be willing to come here? Say it can be done.
Yeah,
at San Diego State
you're getting the way. Here's what I want. This is the ideal situation, gentlemen. We get to the finals of the national championship game, and then he goes to the NBA.
This is the major part.
You don't want to get to the NCAA tournament, lose in the round of 64, and then him go to the NBA.
Look,
because it's a waste of a season.
Look, right.
If you go to Final Four, Elite Eight, then you're like,
you're hitting it on the head, man.
Cool, man. Thank you for
we
taking
lose
us.
him, but we got to the Elite Eight.
Yeah.
We got to the Final Four.
And what if he's doing all the way to the Elite Eight? He's doing alley-oop dunks, behind no-look pass,
3-pointers from
jams, 3-point. And he's just making a name for himself and San Diego State. And everybody wants to watch him play at that, for that period of time in the field of 64. Everybody's focused on Malik Pope and the San Diego State Aztecs. Huge recruiting tool. pub for our school. It just there's no lose here.
Yeah, if we get to the Elite Eight or better with Malik Pope going off, then
it is a win-win.
You know what, buddy?
He can do this. He can do this out the door.
Thank you. You know, I'll be waiting for him when they get back at Aztec Mesa.
Right. Now, I pose a question, and I don't know the answer to this, so you guys may or may not, but like football, usually the top 5, 10 picks in the draft usually are big money, and then it dramatically drops off as the rounds get further and further down. If Malik Pope is projected to be 16, maybe his draft stock drops a little bit, maybe it goes up, we don't know. But let's say he's on the bottom half of that draft stock. Maybe he's sitting in the 18 to 22 range when it comes time to be drafted. Would that keep him here another year to improve and get into that top 5, top 8 situation where you're going to get that money? Because maybe 22 isn't going to really get you anything.
Right.
All right. Well, let me tell you guys, I actually pulled it up while you were talking. I knew where you were going. Last year, the number 1 pick made $4.5 million his first year, $4.7 the second. You look at number, 18, $1.3 million, $1.3 million the second. So, yeah, I mean,
it's still good money. Let's not be.
But $1 million in today's day and age really isn't a lot of money.
Yeah,
it really isn't.
So, and then
I wouldn't know.
Right, of course, that's what I'm saying. But in a lifetime, you're projected to make at least $1 million, right?
So yeah, the drop off. Once you hit 6, you're less than $3 million. Once you hit 10, you're under $2 million. Once you're at 25, you're under $1 million in your first year.
Yeah, but for a I have no idea financially where he's at, in his personal life. But let's just think of most kids are struggling. That $1 million, it might be worth it to take it right now.
Right.
Take it when it's there because. Looking at the chat room right now, you have people that are listing all these guys where this guy stayed longer and it worked out for him. This guy left early and it didn't, But everybody's an individual, and who knows if he, why not take the money now when you can get it?
Right.
Versus
makes sense.
He could get hurt. He could suck. I mean, what happens if next year what happens if he plateaus? Or what happens if he regresses?
It's a risk.
It's a possibility.
It's a risk.
Now, what I like about Malik Pope, and I know where everybody's kind of just gung-ho about Malik Pope, and we should be talking about a lot of the other Aztecs.
Which we will be later on.
We will. Yeah, no, we will be. We're just very high up on this kid right now. Anyway, going in, just looking at his demeanor when you hear him talk, and he's very cerebral. He's a very low-tone guy. He's very relaxed.
But still confident.
He's very confident, and he knows he's good. But like I was telling you before the show, Josh, he doesn't come off as cocky whatsoever. He knows he needs to work on his game. He knows he's in a good situation. He preaches all the time. When you do hear him talk, he talks about how much Coach Fisher is teaching him about the game and how to play defense better. Justin Hudson on the defensive side really getting after him, focusing on Malik Pope. In practice, getting on his ass because he wants him to be a better player. At 6'10", he can go out and guard anybody he wants athletically. He can cover anybody. But yeah, I just think his whole personality, he doesn't seem like a me type of rah-rah guy. Like, I think another year would be in his future. I mean, like you said, he's a good friends with Zylan Cheatham. It would be a deadly combo next year with Trey Kell just getting better and better each game. He's awesome. We would have a great team next year, and we would probably be projected a top 10, 15 team from the get-go. You know what I'm saying? So I think the decision would be easier once we know where we end the season. Hopefully it's in the Final Four. But, yeah, we just have to let it play out. But I think the kid really has his head on straight,
And I think, like I said, just a lot of fans right now, we're wary. But, again, if he took us to the Final Four.
We're not going to complain.
Nobody's going to complain.
No.
We're going to be like,
thank you.
Thank you. We'll thank him for his 1 year service, like we did Kawhi.
Yes.
Thanking him for his
2 years.
first 16. Our first Sweet 16. So it's just one of those things. We're just right now. We all are.
We're grateful right now.
Right now, we're just dreading that he leaves and the season ends up being not what we thought because we're not ranked right now.
Right. And Mark Ziegler said it best. He goes, good news is Malik Pope showing what he can do. Bad news is he's showing the NBA what he can do. Yeah. And it was a perfect comment. It is. And all eyes are on him right now. So.
Well, and the thing we all need to remember is if this is his last and only year with the Aztecs, then we need to really, embrace everything that's going on right now and embrace his
hope for that big run, right?
His next, 8 to 15 games.
Yeah. No, that big run is expected, I think, this year. I mean, you were asking the question probably 2 weeks ago. Are your expectations lower now after a couple losses? You're like, hey, man, is this team, should you expect less now? No, because the bar is already set. You've already been to the Sweet 16. It needs to get over the eclipse that. So no more talking about if we make it to the Sweet 16. You know
and like Jason said, we have still some more time to figure out where he's going to end up projected because it's only February. We still have all March. We still have all this stuff. And he probably will go to see where he's projected before he decides.
And it might become a numbers game. Like, what if a few other guys emerge and kick him out of the top 30.
It also depends on who else is coming out.
Exactly. It might be maybe it's a low class, maybe it's a high class, and he gets booted to the second round.
And that's what I'm saying. If he gets dropped down in that first round, or maybe falls to the second round, then he seriously considers coming back. And Jason, yes, he could come back and even worsen his stock, but he can come back and dramatically improve it as well.
I believe he could be a top 5 pick.
Now he could say this. He takes us to the Final Four and then decides to come back. You know what I'm saying? Right. Because he wants to get better.
Let me tell you, he takes us to the Final Four. I think that he's going to be top 10 already.
He's counting his money.
Yeah.
No, Trav. Pope will not go to the Lakers ever.
No.
Clippers, maybe.
Clip show, baby.
No, he'd have to be top 3 to go to the Lakers.
Maybe we can get the Clippers back since the Chargers won.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. The way the Lakers are playing, you definitely have to be top 3 to go to them. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to have Jake Hefner from ProFootballSpot.com. You heard me correct. That's now ProFootballSpot.com. He's going to be breaking down the Chargers' defensive line. But Aztec fans, stay tuned because we will be back with the Aztecs in about 30 minutes, guys. Let's take a break. We'll be right back with some Chargers football.
Instead of taking the test, I took 2 to the chest. Call me blind, but I didn't see it coming. Everybody was running, but I couldn't hear nothing except gun blast. It happened so fast, I didn't really know this kid, though I survived in class. Maybe this kid was reaching out for love, or maybe for a moment he forgot who he was, or maybe this kid just wanted to be hugged.
Do you need help with your business project that is due? Maybe you need business cards to help your business stand out. We at San Diego Sports Junkies got you covered. SK Digital Imaging can do it all. Give our buddy Sean K a call, 858-408-0732. SK Digital Imaging, from business cards to the bigger projects, SK Digital Imaging and our buddy Sean K will get your printing done right.
Cali Comfort Barbecue in Spring Valley was built for West Coast Sunday morning football and fight night. Cali Comfort Barbecue has quickly become San Diego's slow smoke barbecue sports entertainment destination. Full service catering available for all your tailgating needs. CaliComfortSB.com.
So close yet so far, she never seemed to notice that this silly schoolboy crush wasn't just pretend.
All right, guys, we are back, and we got Jake Hefner from ProFootballSpot.com. You heard me correct. That's Jake Hefner from ProFootballSpot.com to talk some Chargers football. Jake, welcome to the show, bud.
Gentlemen, thanks for having me on. Appreciate it every single week. How you guys doing today?
We are doing great, my friend. Started off talking a little bit of Aztecs, but we're excited to, talk about what the Chargers should be expecting from that defensive line going into the 2015-16 season. Before we dive into that, though, a move, is it a lateral move? Is it a better move? ProFootballSpot.com?
It's a great move. It's actually it's a lateral move. Still writing exclusively covering the Chargers. And just trying to it's moving up the corporate ladder, I guess, if you call it right like that. But it's a great website. If you guys haven't seen it, absolutely check it out. It's fantastic as far as covering all the 32 teams in the NFL. It gives great content. We're all basically There's a contingent of teams that are constant writers that are always trying to put out new ideas and new content that's very enticing to the readers out there. So definitely check it out, profootballspot.com.
So, Jake, about 5 months ago, I told you by joining our show, we're going to help you move up that corporate ladder, and it's working, man.
It's mission accomplished, sir.
Okay, now we just need you to focus on the stadium efforts. Get that done for us, right?
Yes. Right?
Ironically enough, that is actually what my piece is on this week, is about the entire fiasco that's going on with the stadium. So definitely keep an eye out for that one.
Oh, we will, because we're not going to ask you about that. That could take 4 to 7 hours.
Yeah. So let's dive into it, Jake. Defensive line, obviously a lot of question marks. When you're running that 3-4 defense, the 3 down linemen gotta be mammoths. I mean, they gotta clog up the running game. They gotta break up. The pocket so our linebackers and whatnot can get to the quarterback. They need to wreak havoc, and you know, the 3-4, ever since Jamal was here, that was really the last time that they were really a true 3-4 defense as far as, you know, collapsing the pocket and getting to the quarterback and wreaking havoc. Can the Chargers get back to that? Are the pieces currently there? Free agency, are we going to bring somebody in? Is there somebody in the draft? What's your take on the defensive line going into this next season?
I think a lot of people had a perception of the defensive line's performance this past year as seemingly a failure. And just because of, you know, who you have on the line and who's produced in the past, like Corey Leggett and Kendall Reyes, what they were able to do their first couple of years. Then, of course, you kind of been rotating in and out of your nose tackle position. You got Sean Lismore that you brought in through free agency. You did a trade in the 7th round draft pick a couple of years back. You get Ryan Carruthers that you bring in at defensive end this year. His season, unfortunately, was stopped short due to a dislocated elbow. But then you bring other pieces, like, you know, you have undrafted free agent Kenny Palpoy, Ricardo Matthews. A lot of these guys basically just, you know, rotated and tried to make up that aspect of a dominant defensive line. And I think the one key thing, aside from 1 or 2 guys that are on there, is that the Chargers lack a lot of size. You know, Kenny Palpoy is only 6'1", Ryan Carruthers is only 6'2". You definitely need more girth in the middle. And like you said, the Chargers have not had a dominant nose tackle since the days of Jamal Williams. So this is going to be their primary focus, is trying to get somebody. You don't need somebody from a nose tackle in the 3-4 position to rush the quarterback. You need a Vince Wilfork type of guy to command double teams every single snap and to give the guys around him an opportunity to rush the quarterback in single coverage.
Now we've we have a lot of things on the defensive line we can talk about. Ryan Carruthers, he dislocated the elbow. We all thought he'd be back. We actually thought he was going to be back in a week or two. Never really made it back on the field. When he was drafted, I know Mikey here was not really high on him. I actually thought that he played better than I expected him to. What were your thoughts on what we got from him when he was out there and what we can expect from him in the future? Do you think his future is at starting nose tackle for the San Diego Chargers?
I think it's going to be at the defensive end spot, and here's why. I actually think both him and Kenny Palpoy have a great future in San Diego. The way to make these guys really be dominant pieces of the defensive line in the future is getting this type of nose tackle that you need. Because the one thing that the defensive line did have going for them was that they were very, very fast. Ryan Carruthers is very fast for his size. Kenny Palpoy is very fast for his size. He may not have the 6'5" frame that you see from other guys that are out there that are able to push back the pocket, but they can get around people pretty darn good. So that is what they have going for them. And if you can get them into a situation where it's a one-on-one man type of situation along the defensive line when they have to concentrate and put an extra guy on a nose tackle, that's where these guys are going to flourish. So I see both Kenny Palpoy and Ryan Carruthers' future in a defensive end position, but only as if the Chargers can go out and get themselves a dominant nose tackle.
Hey, Jake, it's Justin, bud. I haven't looked over many of the free agents, the D linemen. I know you know a few of the guys as you've done your research every week. Who are a couple guys we should be looking at, guys that have been mentioned free agent? I know we have, I think 40 something million. Jake, is that correct?
Well, the salary cap just went up. I think 1.5 higher than what it was expected to from the league.
Okay.
The Chargers were originally, I think, going to have somewhere around the 32 mark.
Oh, okay.
Between 33 and 35 million, the Chargers are going to have, which still puts them in a great position for free agency.
Okay, so that being said, who are a few guys that you might be intrigued by, as far as salary-wise and fitting into our system, and maybe a guy that could be really dominant in our 3-4 defense?
This would actually be a position that I would think that the Chargers would really target in free agency. You know, we've talked about so many different positions every single week. This is one I really think that they could throw out, as well as going in the draft. But I think right off the bat, you kind of look at the teams that are around you. Let's look to Denver already. Terrence Knighton, who has quietly had some of his best years while he has been in Denver. And then their coach, Jack Del Rio, not only are you stealing a guy who's a great veteran, plays with a very, very big, nasty streak, and has put up really good numbers. And, of course, you're just happening to stealing it from the possible, division favorite for next year as well. So weakening a division rival is always good when you can steal a guy who's a playmaker like Terrence. He's an absolute nightmare. He's really hurt the Chargers in the past as far as what he's done with the offensive line. I think first and foremost, my eyes directly go to him. There's a couple other defensive linemen that are out there. Obviously, everybody's focus has talked about, the possibility of bringing in a Ndamukong Suh and just, Detroit's going to do all they can to keep him. I just don't see it as a realistic possibility that the Chargers could get into a bidding war with anybody else for him. And as big as his contract's going to be, you can't throw every single dime that you have at Ndamukong Suh. And plus, he's never played in the 3-4 defense before. So I do not see him as a realistic possibility. But I would definitely start looking around the division first and foremost to try and pick somebody off from an opposite team and come in there and make your defensive line better.
Well, I think the Terrence Knighton comment you made is getting a lot of traction in our chat room. A lot of people really like that. And I agree with you. And I think Ndamukong Suh, first of all, I don't think he's coming here. I think if we brought him in, he'd end up playing defensive end. Now, Corey Liuget, I remember I think it was after his second season, people were starting to maybe talk about how maybe he was a bit of a bust or he wasn't quite living up to his first-round draft status. And then he really poured it on that next season. And I think last season he actually had a really solid season too. Now, Kendall Reyes is kind of in that same situation where I think he was a second-round draft choice anyways, but last season seemed to be a little bit of a disappointment to us fans anyways. I know we don't get to watch the film. Do you think that Kendall Reyes is possibly going to maybe break out and have a comeback season next year? Or do you think his days as a starting defensive end with the Chargers might be done?
I don't think that the Chargers are going to, cut bait with Kendall Reyes just yet. Does he need to have a comeback year? Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Let's look at it this way. The Chargers haven't had a double-digit sack player since 2011. That's not good. And when Corey Liuget leads your defense in sacks with 4.5 last season, that's really, really bad. So you definitely need more production from your defensive line. Kendall, as much as we would like to knock on him, I know we talked about him earlier on in the season, and what he needed to do to step up, and unfortunately it just didn't happen. He's still a great veteran presence for as young as the Chargers are getting along the defensive line. I think he is a very stable utility guy, plus he is very durable along with Corey. So they are linchpins to the defensive line that I don't think that you can necessarily say at this point to even think about giving up on, because as the Chargers spend this year, especially focusing on rebuilding their defensive line, I think this is only going to make the players around them, i.e. Corey Liuget and Kendall Reyes, even better.
Really quick in the chat room here, Jake, someone was asking about Vince Wilfork. What are your thoughts about bringing him in?
I think we had all talked about bringing in Vince last year after he was injury, and he was not happy with possibly extending his contract or what the Patriots were first giving him. As far as I know, I believe Vince is still under contract for next year with the Patriots. I think anybody would love to have a a man that size clogging up their defensive line.
Right.
Hey, I mean, if for some reason that the Patriots had to pick up, Darrelle Revis's contract money for next year, which is somewhere in the low 20s, and they just so happen to release Vincent Wilfork, I would be on the horn to Tom Telesco immediately telling him to bring Vincent, because the man can still command double teams, no doubt about it, and he's still just a force in the middle.
You could pay his bonuses with In-N-Out Burger.
There was another name, Jake, that stood out to me, and I know it's far-fetched and it's crazy, and that name is Greg Hardy.
That name is actually not so far-fetched.
Oh, okay.
And I know that what everybody's mind immediately goes to is, the whole domestic violence abuse scandal, and how the charges were dropped.
Which he was acquitted of. Go on.
This is going to lead us.
Wait a second here.
Uh-oh. Here we go.
He was acquitted because he paid the girl to go away.
Whoa. Were you there? Were you there?
You weren't there,
You weren't
Jason.
there. Stop the speculation.
All right, I'm sorry. Sorry, Jake. Go ahead and continue.
Politics of San Diego sports. But I just read a story, I believe it was either yesterday or this morning, saying that the NFL still wanted to make an example out of him by possibly giving him a suspension, even though he has basically already sat out all of 2014. And, we talk about all these type of guys who, have a bum rap sheet, and, the way that the Chargers organization is built, saying, like, well, we're character guys and we won't bring anybody like that. But then again, you see guys like LeGarrette Blount getting a second chance going from Pittsburgh after he walks off the field to becoming a Super Bowl champion. Yeah. So, it's one of those situations where you really can't knock some of the off-field stuff, depending on what it is that actually happens, especially after the legal process has, taken a big course and a big step in it already in trying to get it finalized.
Right.
So when you look at it from a statistical standpoint alone, Greg Hardy's numbers are fantastic. And just bringing him in here as an athlete and as a player and as a teammate, he could be a huge improvement for this defensive line. But, of course, we're not the organization. We're not the Chargers. We don't have any affiliation as far as what it is that they actually look for in talent when it comes to character concerns. But, stranger things have happened.
Yeah, Jake. I had a couple questions from, ideas. One of our best listeners, SoCal Trav, threw out earlier. He's eating right now, so he couldn't contribute. So he texted me. He likes the name Jared Odrick from the Dolphins. Only made 2.7 in 2014. I'm going to name a couple guys, and maybe you can hit on a couple maybe you're familiar with. Brandon Graham from the Eagles, outside linebacker, only made 3.3. Guy he likes. And the possibility of re-signing Flowers at $3 million last year. What do you think on that? And would Justin Houston be a possibility if he's not franchised? Any of those guys stick out to you?
Jared Odrick, I think, would be a bargain signing.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with the 3-4 type of defense? He's more, he's not one of the top, 6 or 7 pass rusher that's out there because, maybe it's not an offensive linebacking position, or maybe it's not a Dominican Sewell on the defensive line, but he's quietly been a good force for the Miami Dolphins through his tenure there. And getting him at a cheap price, I think, would be, we call it the Telesco type move, because he can play the game Moneyball pretty darn well in free agency. So I think that would be a great idea. Justin Houston, I think with the Chiefs, cutting their losses the last few days with their receivers, I think right now they're already trying to free up cap space, and every single dime that they have to throw at Justin Houston so they don't have to use the franchise tag on him, because right now their cap situation is just horrible. So even if for some reason he does go on the open market, I still think that there will be more teams that will outbid the Chargers for him. Not to say that, of course, the Chargers could not use a dominant force like that, but I just don't think that we'll have an opportunity to get him. But Jared Odrick, I think that is a fantastic idea.
Really quick, Jake, this is Josh. Our fans are probably some of the most intelligent out there. And Brandon up in Portland, he said that Wilfork is a $9 million cap hit for the Pats. It's less than $1 million if they end up releasing him. kind of some interesting, numbers that they have to think about right there. I mean, not only a contract, but that's a huge cap hit that they're going to have to take on in addition to that.
Yes.
No.
Yeah, and it depends on, I don't think that the Patriots would necessarily want to lose a guy like that, but, they still have a bunch of contracts that they do have coming up, especially with Darrelle Revis commanding a lot. If, you can't either franchise him or whatever you're going to do for a long-term deal, but picking up his option and trying to get him under contract is definitely going to provide a big cap hit to the Patriots in general. So they would have to make some pieces work in order to keep a guy like Darrelle. So it's really, who do you feel like would be a more utilized part of your defense more, Will Fork or Darrelle Revis in that sense?
Yeah, I gotta think that they're going to do what they can to keep him. They won't keep him with a $9 million cap hit, but they might restructure the contract and keep him. Now, back to another Charger that's played last season, Ricardo Matthews. We did not see a lot of him on the D line, but it really seemed like when he was out there, he made some big plays, and I kind of like his attitude. He plays a little bit chippy out there too. Do you see a future with him on our defensive line, or do you think that they're going to move in a different direction?
I think he cemented his spot, and let's not forget, before, remember, he was brought on, I believe it was Lawrence Guy that was actually cut on the final days of preseason before the Chargers brought in Ricardo Matthews. So there was obviously something that the Chargers saw through him in preseason when he wasn't even on the team, but then to bring him in on those final weeks of cuts before the season started. And throughout, he may not have put up the biggest numbers along the defensive line, but he played with an attitude. You're absolutely right. He plays with a nasty streak that the defensive line sorely needs. And when he gets out there and when he can get to the quarterback, he gets after it. And that's the type of people that you need around the defensive line, especially in the trenches, because those are where the battle's won. So I think last year alone, Ricardo cemented himself along this defensive line, and I definitely see a future for him with the team.
Now, one of the things that the Chargers, we keep talking about it. We always talk about they've been lacking is a nose tackle, somebody in their middle clogging it up. And we've talked about free agents. We've talked about other things. Is there a whole lot of help in the draft here? At the nose tackle position, maybe somewhere late, somebody that maybe we could pick up, third round on, or do you think that we're going to have to go free agent? Do you think there's any way we could draft somebody to come in and start?
Absolutely. There's a number of people in this draft from a first round to a second round. If the Chargers don't go to the defensive tackle position in free agency, then this is one of the places that I see the Chargers placing a high draft pick on. I mean, you go anybody from Malcolm Brown, who's from Texas. He's got that type of size that you want, 6'3", 317 pounds. He's a great run stuffer. Eddie Goldman, which a lot of people have been talking about from Florida State. He's 6'3", and he's 314. He finished with 35 tackles, including 8 for a loss and 4 sacks in his last season. So he can do a lot more than just clog the middle of that space up. Again, there are a plethora of guys from the first to the third round in this draft. I think as far as the defensive line go, it's actually very, very deep. And so if the Chargers have to end up making a choice at the defensive line position where they can get one of the best free agent defensive ends, they could definitely look towards the draft. And I think they have a bunch of people to choose from.
So, Jake, the 3-4 defense, what do you think is more vital with a 3-4 defense? Is it more vital to be a run-stuffing defense, or is it more vital to be a defense that can collapse the pocket and get to the quarterback, or is it a combination of the both? Second part to that question is, based on what your answer is, what type of a guy are we looking for? Are we looking for a guy that can be like a speed rusher type, or are we looking for a guy that is just big that can just manhandle two guys?
It's a combination of both, really, because obviously I think whether it's 4-3 or 3-4, your first priority is to stop the run. No doubt about it. Get the opposing offense into third and long situations without them having the ability to just grind out a defense by getting 4 yards here, 5 yards here on the ground and just make it easy. In turn, having a dominant run-stuffing nose tackle that can command double teams is only going to free up your outside linebackers coming from the outside, or your defensive ends coming in on a stunt, because everybody else has to remain in single coverage. They're not going to get help from anywhere else, because already you're taking 2 offensive linemen out of the equation because they have to concentrate on the nose tackle. So it definitely helps from a pass rushing perspective, and that doesn't matter if it's from a linebacker or a defensive end. Somebody else is going to get an opportunity to get to the quarterback, and one of those offensive linemen has to be brought in. Also, if the offense chooses to bring in, an extra tight end or there, now you're limiting the offense. So it works in twofold and on so many different facets to what really one guy can do from a defensive standpoint to really change the complexion of not only his defensive squad, but the opposing offenses as well.
Now, next weekend, Wednesday, we're going to be talking linebackers, so we'll get a little bit more into the linebackers and the hiring of Mike Nolan. But as it pertains to defensive line, with Mike Nolan coming in and taking over the linebackers, which, I'm so excited about, because I think our linebackers have been underperforming for a few years. Do you think that his what philosophy he brings to our linebacking core will maybe change the philosophy of what we have on our defensive line, or will it kind of help mold the type of defensive line play we want to get out of those guys so it can free up his linebackers? Do you think that'll affect the team this year?
Absolutely. I think Mike Nolan was such a fantastic hire. And not only for the fact that, he spent time with Mike McCoy during his tenure in Denver as the defensive coordinator there, but coming in with John Pagano and having the type of head coaching experience that Mike Nolan has, and the defensive tenure that he's had over 20 years in the schemes, you have to believe that he is going to do a lot more than just sit back and coach the linebackers. I'm sure that he's going to be working close with not only John Pagano, but our defensive line coach as well, to try and figure out the best way to possibly utilize every pass rusher that the Chargers have, and especially now, with the possible departures of both Jarrett Johnson and Dwight Freeney, it's a very young linebacking core. So I think that the Mike Nolan hire is absolutely terrific, and I think it's going to hold a lot more worth than what it actually says about him on paper.
Got an odd question for you, Jake, coming from the chat room, but I'll ask it anyways. Brandon in Portland, he wants to know, did you play football? And the second part of his question was if you were a free safety at Morse.
Well, the answer to both of those questions is no. I did not. But just
you were an underwater basket weaver, huh?
You know what? Okay, guilty as charged. I was the water boy,
and you were talented.
I was a spectator.
Hey, really quick before we wind it down, Jake, you're up there in Orange County. Obviously, the vibe up there is probably a little different than it is down here. Maybe it's the same. But what are people talking about up there as far as an NFL franchise coming to LA? Are they pro Chargers? Are they against them? What's going on up there that may be a little bit different than what they're talking here in San Diego?
Everybody that I talk to and everybody that comes up and asks me about it, what do I think? What do I think? Of course, from my standpoint, I think I'm in the minority of saying that I don't want the Chargers to leave San Diego. I would love for them to get this deal done and get a new stadium put up in place and ready for this team to stay there for a very long time. Most of the vibe, I think, is just the concept of Los Angeles having football again. I don't think it really matters to them who comes to them, whether it's the Raiders, the Rams, or the Chargers. I think just the general vibe is that the possibility of football back in LA is finally here. So they're going to be excited, I think, no matter which team it is. From my standpoint, of course, I tell them first off the bat is that I don't want it to be San Diego. And it doesn't matter the fact that I live in Orange County or not. I love coming down there. I love the area. I love the team in that area. I think what they've done for the community, and just being a staple to that city for so long is still just a great thing. And so, again, just the general vibe is just football is back in LA. But if you want some input from somebody who's not in San Diego, I'm one of the outsiders that does not want them to leave.
I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, obviously, Charger hat on, they need to stay here. Would I still go to a game if they were in LA? Yeah, I'd probably still go to my one game a year if they were in LA, but it would definitely hurt for them to leave San Diego, and I think it would hurt for numerous reasons. And we kind of talked about before the show, it's not just the Chargers they need to be focusing on. It's the Aztecs, it's the Holiday Bowls, it's all the other events that would take place in San Diego with the new facility, all the stuff that we're currently missing out on because we don't have a new facility. Petco Park finally got the All-Star game here. Granted, it's been 10 years, but they finally got an ownership group that wants to do something, and the Padres are making moves. There's a lot of excitement. The All-Star game's going to be here in 2016, and there's no reason why the Super Bowl couldn't be here in the next 5 years. They need to focus. In my opinion, just listening to everything that you hear on local radio around here, I think they need to focus more on the big picture than they do on the Chargers if they're really going to get this done. And I hope they do. From what there's a lot of back and forth battling. It kind of reminds me of politics. There's a lot of backlash going from both sides, and hopefully they can iron it out.
Yeah, definitely hope it gets done. It's become more finger pointing than looking at the direct issue. So hopefully they can put away their swords for about 10 minutes and concentrate on the actual problem.
Totally agree. So it's time, Jake. Your next weekly homework this week is going to be on our linebacking core. As Jason alluded to, we got a new coach in town. Somebody who brings tons and tons of knowledge to this organization, I think is a huge asset on the defensive side of the football. There's still a lot of question marks from the defensive line. Jarrett Johnson,
Dwight
Freeney, hashtag Spinaroonie, and company. Can
Jerry Atauchu.
Can Atauchu have a big year? Can Donald Butler, come back to form?
Right.
A lot of deep questions, Jake, that you're going to have to, give us your take on next week. So I challenge you to wow us with your plethora of information.
As usual.
I'm ready for that, but I think everybody really has a homework assignment this week. We have the Combine, the Underwear Olympics on this week.
Oh, I'm excited about that.
Is that what you were talking about joining, Mike?
I'm a jockstrap kind of guy. I love the free-flowing way of that suit they got on. That's pretty nice.
Mike is starting to get the figure. He might be able to be in there.
I'm not into shaving my legs, though. I might have to reconsider.
All right, Jake. Well, as always, man, we appreciate you joining the show. I think a lot of our followers really enjoy the information that you provide, the knowledge that you provide, and good luck on ProFootballSpot.com. Guys, he's got some great articles that he had with Bolt Beat, and they're going to get even better with ProFootballSpot.com. So check out Jake's take as well as each and every week, Wednesdays at about 7:15 with the San Diego Sports Junkies. Jake, we appreciate your time, and have a good week, my friend.
Appreciate you guys having me on each and every single week very much. Thank you guys, and looking forward to next week for sure.
Later, buddy.
Thanks, Jake.
Thanks, Jake.
All right, guys, this is San Diego Sports Junkies, a show for fans.
By the fans.
And we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to, open up these phone lines, let you guys voice your opinion, talk some more Aztecs basketball, and Padres spring training pitchers and catchers report tomorrow. We'll talk some more about that after the break.
Or we can just talk stadium.
It's tricky to rock around, that's right, on time is tricky. Oh, the G, tricky. It's tricky to rock around, that's right, on time is tricky. Tricky, huh?
Millionaires are being made all season long at DraftKings.com, America's favorite one-week fantasy football site.
1 week fantasy means no season-long commitments. Play whenever you want.
Got a player who's hurt? No problem.
Injuries won't derail your shot at victory because it's like a new season every week, so you're never stuck with the same players.
Pick your team in minutes, and you could be on your way to winning huge cash.
This season, one listener turned $10 into $5,000. Another turned $2 into $10,000.
And a new millionaire has been crowned nearly every week this season at DraftKings.com.
You could be next. Imagine winning $1 million in one day just playing fantasy football at DraftKings.
Head to DraftKings.com now and use promo code Spreaker to play free in the $10 million Fantasy Football World Championships.
DraftKings.com. Bigger events, bigger winnings, bigger millionaires. Enter Spreaker now at DraftKings.com. DraftKings.com. That's DraftKings.com.
Cali Comfort Barbecue in Spring Valley was built for West Coast Sunday morning football and fight night. Cali Comfort Barbecue has quickly become San Diego's slow smoke barbecue sports entertainment destination. Full service catering available for all your tailgating needs. CaliComfortSU.com.
Well, I ain't seen my baby since I don't know when. I've been drinking bourbon whiskey, scotch and gin. Gonna get high, man, I'm gonna get loose. Need me a triple shot of that juice. Gonna get drunk, don't you have no fear. I want one bourbon, one scotch, one beer, one bourbon.
All right, guys, we are back. I want to shout out, and hopefully maybe Darren can even call in, 619-866-4567, but shout out Aztecs baseball winning 4-0.
Undefeated.
No, their record is 4-0.
Oh, my apologies. See, this is why I needed Darren to call in and fill us in on the Aztecs program, but Aztecs baseball off to a 4-0 start. Which is always awesome.
And they're playing for Tony Gwynn this season, so it should inspire them. I mean, not as they wouldn't play hard anyway, but it means a little more this season. So I wish them all the best. I'm gonna actually follow them all year. It's gonna be a fun season.
And not only the baseball program here in San Diego, but isn't a few of the Mountain West teams donning the Tony Gwynn patch? I heard a few of the teams were donning that patch.
I think they're paying their respects in different ways. I know what San Diego State's going to do is let a guy that's worthy of the 19 jersey. They're going to let him, each kid that is deserving every few weeks, whether he's had a good few weeks or he's done something off the field, something that deserves to wear the 19. They're going to tribute Aztec players in that way from here on out. So
that's a cool idea.
It's not going to be retired. It's going to be a special commemorative jersey with a special meaning for the baseball team.
And, I hadn't heard that. I think that's a fantastic idea. What a way to
instead of just
to tribute
taking the number away and putting it on a outfield fence, they're going to actually let guys that are deserving of the 19, not the whole season.
Should be like player of the week.
Yeah, player of the week type of player. They're going to let him don the 19.
That's really cool.
Very cool.
So we got our phone lines lighting up already, and imagine that. SoCal Trav on the line. What's up, SoCal?
Number one, as always. Good evening, gentlemen.
How was that Slater 50-50 burger?
Dude, it fucking is so good. That place is just so damn scrumptious. I love it.
Not to be off topic at all, but we're going to the Corvette Diner on Saturday, and I hope it's packed, because if it's packed, we're going to Slater 50-50.
Nice. Yeah, I love that place. It's like heart attack between two buns.
So what up, Trav? What's going on today? What's on your mind here?
Well, I think it's on my mind is what is on everybody's mind. And
Padres. Sorry.
Well, we'll talk about Padres too.
The Kings.
But I think I want to get the stadium thing off my chest, because it's obviously pissing everybody off. And
yep.
I've decided, I figured out what the main problem is between the Chargers and the city.
Fabiani.
What is it?
You damn bet you. That guy's a dick.
Told you. That's what I was saying that before the show. They need a new face there, in my opinion.
It's too late in the game though to get a new face.
Was it Trav?
If I was the mayor on city council and that guy talked the crap that he talks out of his mouth, I would basically say, you know what? Take your shit, go to LA, have fun, goodbye. Because he's an asshole.
He is.
He's ruining the whole negotiation process between our team and the city. He's totally destroyed.
And I'm gonna disagree a little bit, and I'll have another spin on it. I'm not totally against what you're saying, guys. Mark Fabiani, I've never been a huge fan of him. Let's get that clear first. I think he's been patient for so long, and with the city, and at his breaking point, he's finally now, the Chargers are understanding this is serious, and he doesn't want any BS with city council members that really have no clue what they're doing. This is just my opinion and my perspective. he's going into these meetings with people that the appointed from the mayor and saying, hey, guys, I've been doing this for 15 years. What do you have to offer? And they're looking around the room going, I'm just here to take notes. I have really no idea right now. So from his standpoint, he's kind of going, well, I need some serious conversation happening soon, or this is going to get out of hand quickly because Steve Kroenke up the road is forcing everybody's hand with his land and his team. So I think he's just taking a different approach. SoCal, I don't like the guy particularly or his tone right now, but I think he's kind of forced to be this way because of the situation.
I'd tell him, SoCal, I'd tell him that, it's been 14 years and you haven't been able to get it done, so something needs to change, and maybe it's your attitude or maybe it's your face, but something needs to change.
Yeah, I was thinking of it. I was talking to Juan and Brian last night or the night before about this. As we all know, 14 years is a hell of a long time to freaking get a deal done. And I think the city is at the point now they're like, oh, well, why should we negotiate a new stadium when they're just going to renew their lease at the end of the year anyway? Because they've been doing it for 14 freaking years.
Right.
They don't really care. So why don't the Chargers give them a deadline? Say, all right, here's the date. If we don't have an agreement set in stone, signed, sealed, and delivered by this date, we're going to Los Angeles. No more negotiations, no more questions, no more bullshit.
Well, there is a date, though. There's a date. I mean, it has to be on the ballot of November 16 or...
No, but they need a real date.
I understand what you're saying, but it has to be on next year's ballot or we're gone anyway. So it really doesn't matter. That's a date. That's a hard-nosed date.
That's not even the date, because I don't think even if it's on that ballot, I don't think that's enough.
I don't think they have a date, but they definitely have mentioned they need to have it ready to place on the ballot by September, is what I've been hearing. And just so you know, SoCal, Hula on the Twitter sphere, she votes you for mayor.
Nice.
Too bad you don't live in San Diego.
Maybe I should just move right into San Diego and run for mayor.
You can crash at Josh's house. It's got a nice couch.
I'll just get an appeal box. Is an appeal box legal?
The car that gets assigned to the San Diego mayor is a Volkswagen, right?
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
I'll change that. I'll come over to see Josh at Toyota and get a Toyota.
There you go.
I got to say I agree with Justin. I think that part of the problem is the Chargers are so frustrated because the city of San Diego has really done nothing. They've just dragged their feet for so long, and I think that the team is finally saying, you know what, we have a little bit of, something that we can actually threaten with now because we really haven't had anything before, and they're just tired of being jerked around.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's exactly what it is. They're just tired of it, and they're fed up. And L.A. does have two places that the Chargers can play temporarily until a stadium's built. You got the Coliseum. I mean, that's not the greatest place.
Those two are bigger shitholes than Qualcomm.
Hey,
Bassett, Rose Bowl, and the Coliseum.
Could you imagine 10,000 fans at the Coliseum?
Can you imagine 10,000 fans at the Rose Bowl? I mean,
can you guys imagine 10,000 fans at Qualcomm next year because they're threatening to leave and nobody's going to pay for season tickets?
Well, that's what I was talking to Brian about today, and it's like, do you really want to pay for season seats and they're going to bail on us? Who knows? It's year to year. This could be the last year they ever play in the city of San Diego, and we just don't know that until the end of the year when they decide to renew their lease again.
Right, and I get what you're saying about Fabiani because there's a tone of where we're headed out the door and this and that, but the Chargers better be careful on their end too because they're ruffling a lot of feathers.
Yep.
And fans aren't going to fork out a season ticket this season if they know they're one foot out,
which leads me to believe that they probably want out, so let's just ruffle those feathers so we can finally sign off.
I don't agree with that, Josh. They don't want out. They can't come to a flipping conclusion here. The the Chargers have tried for 15 seasons.
It's not just that they can't come to a conclusion; they can't even get a discussion started.
Exactly, and that's why Fabiani's taken on the tone he has. I don't blame him one bit for saying, you know what, screw you, City Council. Give me something in stone that we can put some numbers together, or we're out of here.
Hey, Trav, I have a question for you since you're up there in the OC. How much Charger advertising do you see up there?
Absolutely 100% zero.
Yeah, but the 30% of their fan base is up there? I don't understand all that.
Yeah, 30% of their season ticket holders.
That's the biggest crock of crap I've ever heard because
That's a cop-out.
There's not that many Chargers fans up there. When I see one, I'm like, yeah, dude, Charger fan.
Yeah, and I thought about that because I see, obviously I've been to Angel Stadium and you see the big old San Diego Zoo thing on the wall. And I go up to LA and Orange County a lot, not to visit you, but just to go do cool stuff. But, I have never seen any Charger kind of like advertisement. So I was just wondering since you're up there all the time.
There's none.
Okay.
There's none, dude. I mean, you walk into like Dick's Sporting Goods. There is no Chargers gear at Dick's Sporting Goods up here. It's like Angels and Dodgers. That's all you find.
Yeah, that's
Angels, Dodgers, Lakers, and Ducks and Kings. That's all you see.
And the Chargers would be behind all of them.
Well, that's the thing. You hear that all the time. Well, we got 25 to 30% of our fan base up there, and I've never met one person that lives in that area and says that they advertise and they sell tickets.
I don't think that they're Charger fans. I think they're football fans.
They might be.
We're the closest place where they're coming.
And they don't want to go see the Raiders up in the Bay Area. Right. So I mean, that's kind of a drive. So no. And
all the fans
go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, bud.
The fans that are up here, I mean, it's probably about 80% Raider fans and 20% diehard Rams fans.
Yeah.
Praying that they still come back. And that's all that's up there because, LA's all gangsta, who do you claim, Bloods, Crips. That's all they wear is Raider gear, so that's all they care about are the Raiders. And then there's the diehard Rams fans, which outnumbered us at, the Rams-Chargers game last year. And that's it. There is no Chargers fans up here. There's very few up Orange County and LA. Very, very few. So that 20 to 30% that they're saying is the biggest crock of crap I've ever heard.
I agree with
in
you.
my entire life.
All right, Trav, we're gonna cut you off, man, because Portland wants to dial up and probably give us his 2 cents on the situation. So we'll have to continue this conversation next week. I'm pretty sure there's going to be plenty to talk about over the next few months when it comes to the Chargers in the stadium.
I'm sure there is, guys. You have a great week, and we all need to get together for a brew bra.
Yeah, let's do it.
Coming up.
Hell yeah, get some county fair over at Cali Comfort and
keep that support going on Twitter too, man.
Yes.
The backing of people getting behind the Bolts, and the more followers, the better. Maybe you can actually arrange a meeting and get crazy with it.
We'll see. I don't know about that, but we'll figure something out to get a rally going.
All right, brother.
Talk to you, Trav. Thanks a lot, man.
Later, buddy.
Okay. Go Bolts.
Go Bolts. Before Portland calls in, I was thinking about this, and I heard this somewhere. I can't remember where, but the whole issue is if really their 30% of their fan base is from LA, Anaheim, a stadium's not going to fix that. No, it doesn't fix that. If someone moves into LA, Anaheim, that 30% is gone.
Right.
A stadium's not going to. People aren't going to be like, oh, okay. Let me still drive down as a new stadium, maybe for a year.
Yeah.
It's not a long-term solution.
I do think that 30% of the fans might come down here to the games, but they're not Charger fans. That's why, for those of you who have been to Charger games, it doesn't matter who we're playing. The stadium cheers almost as loud for the visiting team as they do for the Chargers, and that's just the way it is.
And you don't think there's transplants in Anaheim?
Exactly.
That's a great place to live.
Exactly.
So we got Portland on the line. Portland, what's up?
What up?
What's up, guys?
So what's on your mind, man? I know you wanted to tell us what you think about the stadium issue.
Hey, real quick, I'm not going to take up much of time. I just wanted to say the list of people who are on the committee and the list of people who are helping the Save the Bolts movement are easily found, and it's not very hard to just send these people an email and thank them for the time they're putting in, the effort they're putting in, the hours they're putting in. Obviously, up here in Portland, I can't do a whole bunch, so I'm just trying to help rally the troops. Just imagine these people already have plenty of money. These people have plenty of clout. That's why they've been chosen for the committee, but a little support is good for everybody. So, like I said, just find out who they are, send them an email, thank them for their efforts, and do anything you can to help keep the Chargers in San Diego.
Yeah, that's for sure. I think that a lot of the people here who are just quickly saying, fine, if they go, they go, let them go, who cares? I think a year or two down the road will be really sad when we don't have an NFL team in San Diego.
I agree. I agree.
So you were saying also in the chat room that there are a lot of actual Charger fans up there in Portland.
Yeah, it's surprising. You drive around, of course, mostly Seahawks fans, but I see Bolts on cars a lot. And there's a Charger bar in Southeast Portland that's owned by some people who are originally, I think, from San Diego. So they have big screens all throughout the place, but the biggest projector they have is always the Charger game if it's on. So
that's awesome.
There's usually about 25, 30 Charger fans there, which, I mean, isn't a ton, but considering you're 1,200 miles away.
It's all the smart Charger fans that left California, didn't want to pay out their ass to live here, moving up to, Oregon where it's a little more feasible.
Yeah, beer is plentiful, beer is cheap, and there's no sales tax. So when you go to the store and buy stuff, you don't have to add on that 8-9%. You got to figure out how much you're spending. If you only got $25, you can count it up easy.
I hear the beer's good up there too.
Oh yeah,
you say that about everywhere.
You caught me.
I wonder if that's something that's kind of unique to Portland, or I wonder if any town you go to or any city you go to, you'll find a surprising amount of Charger fans. We only get to see what we see here in San Diego, and of course there's a lot of Charger fans here, but there's so many fans of all other NFL. It's not surprising if I go somewhere to see somebody wearing a hat from an NFL or Major League Baseball team that's not in San Diego. It doesn't surprise me ever, But I'm curious if you go to Portland or Cincinnati or Dallas or whatever, how big of a group of actual Charger fans there are. I wonder if it's like it is up in Portland or if that's kind of unique. That's kind of interesting.
There was a surprising amount of people at the Seahawks preseason game I went to this last season. So I mean, there was probably 100 Charger fans at least. I mean that's kind of weird for a preseason game way up in Seattle. It's not a huge tourist destination.
Yeah, that's true.
But I think growing up in Southern California, you have like this thought in your head that that's the center of the earth and everywhere else is just a small little hick town. And then, for me, I spent 28 years down there. All of a sudden I move up here and I realize there are big cities other places. Holy moly, So I'm driving around my first few days and I see some Bolt stickers. It's kind of cool. You realize, the Bolts do have some support. And it's when you go to another stadium and see that the support other fans, have with their big, nice stadiums and their sellout crowds, and especially Seattle with that 12th man and how loud that place was. That's when your heart's broken, and you wish the Chargers had that kind of love,
Yep.
That kind of support, that kind of facility.
Yeah, we've been talking about that all season, how it's kind of a bummer when you go to the Charger games and you just there's so many transplanted fans there for other teams, and it is kind of a bummer that we can't get the fan support, the home fan support like some of those other teams do. That's for sure.
I actually think that would be awesome if the Chargers won all the time. It's those heartbreaking losses when you're walking out of the stadium and those cocky-ass Patriot fans or cocky Jet fans are jazzed because they just disappointed us and knocked us out for this. That's the worst. If we were winning those games and you got to walk out the Qualcomm parking lot, and that's a long walk to be, walking next to a Patriots fan at that point. If you just, you just ended their season, it's a whole different walk, So
right.
I don't know. I think we just need to start winning. That changes the whole culture. Hopefully, that gets the stadium ball rolling a little faster. I don't know. I'm always the optimist. I'm hoping for the best.
I think we all are, man. We don't want to see him go. I think most of us will still be Charger fans if they do, but we definitely want to see him stay here in San Diego. I think it would be a big mistake for the city, not only for the Chargers, but for the city, for them to move on. They're going to lose out on a lot of opportunity to bring some big time, money to the city to increase, jobs. Look at what happened when Petco went up. All these restaurants and other properties went up that employed more people. I think it's just ultimately really, really good for the city. So I think they're going to make a big mistake if the Chargers walk to L.A.
Yeah, they need to make it happen. I mean, you're not just talking Charger games. That's only part of the year. And then you're talking about the monster trucks. You're talking about concerts. You're talking about all kinds of things that can be filling up the stadium and bringing tax money. So, I mean, it's stupid. They need to figure it out. Hopefully they do.
Good point.
But thanks for taking my call, guys. I love the show, as always. I'll be listening.
Hey, thank you, man.
Can I really quick jump in, guys? Because I missed the last time we talked about this.
So, we haven't. We've made sure of that. We just
right. I'm sure we didn't mention it at all. It's the first time. First time on the show
it's
ever.
The first time without an echo. So go ahead.
Right. But no, like people are looking at who to blame. People are taking sides, and honestly, there's no one's right here, in my opinion. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, the team leaves, then we all lose out. No one's a winner. Maybe the Spanos are winners, I guess. But even then, I think they'll lose because that market's not for them. At the end of the day, I think I honestly, guys, and I think maybe Justin's a little bit on my side here. I think it's just too late.
Yeah.
I mean, like we talked about, I think I mentioned before.
Ship has sailed.
2016, this goes on the ballot. 2018, construction starts after lawsuits and environmental studies.
Just like Petco.
2021, 2020, stadium's built. If you're a businessman like the Spanos, are you really going to wait 5 years for a stadium?
I think you would if the deal was proposed in a manner it could get built in. I really do.
But again,
lease Qualcomm
you're losing
till
your
it's in.
market. Your 30% market. And you're going to wait 5 years in that crap stadium to get a new one. I just don't see it. And the way things are playing out right now.
I think if the plan and the deal was good enough, he would. I would. I really believe that.
Right.
I think he would take the hit and say, you know what, we got an LA team going, but I'm getting a new stadium. It's good for business.
Yeah.
We're going to make a lot of money in this stadium. He can't keep doing this without a stadium. It's bad for his business. He knows that, and that's why he has to leave if there's no plan in place. So.
All these people are kind of trying to villainize, make Charger ownership into villains here.
No, I can't. That sucks.
And I actually truly believe that they want to stay in San Diego, because if they didn't, they'd have been
out of here
gone
years
already.
ago.
I
think
totally
they
agree.
truly want to stay in San Diego. I think San Diego has made zero effort to keep them.
Right.
Yep.
And
They're just at their wits' end right now.
So let's talk about something else off stadium talk real quick.
I got some interesting stuff on Padre news, which we haven't
Can
dived
I do
in.
one more Charger thing before we go
Yeah,
over?
of course, go ahead.
In the chat room, Darren had mentioned that he said that I hadn't even seen this before, that Tom Telesco said that they might not be moving
Oh, yeah, it was
DJ
today.
Fluker from tackle to guard.
Yeah, at the combine.
Did anybody have any thoughts on that? I'm gonna give you mine first.
That's just kind
I
of.
guess I'm not. Go ahead.
Absolutely not.
First of all, I think that it's a fantastic idea to move him to guard, but there's no reason why they have to set anything in stone right now. And to keep all their options open, I think that DJ Fluker can be a successful tackle. I think we've seen that before. I think that overall offensive line play wasn't great last season anyways, but to paint yourself into a corner and say, he's going to be our guard, so now we have to have a tackle, I would much rather them say, well, we need to get a tackle or a guard. Let's see what the best opportunity is for us.
I agree with that, Jason. Exactly. That's the point. You don't label somebody, before you know what you have.
Right.
I don't think you label. I mean, that's a good point, but I don't want him to play tackle. I don't. I think he's better suited as a guard. That's just my opinion.
No, I agree with you there. I think he would be better as a guard, but
don't say what you're going to do before you've made any moves.
If we can't find a tackle,
then you're setting yourself up.
Then he's got to play tackle,
of course.
So
and then you kind of set your fans up for like, hey, what are you doing?
All of a sudden,
criticism. So I agree.
That was the one thing I saw in there. I hadn't seen it before. Darren had brought up in the chat room, so I wanted to mention it.
Okay.
Padre time.
Padres, I just came across an article that was posted today on UT, and I did not catch this. It was afternoon. The interesting stuff here. Okay, so Cole Hamels, right? You were talking about Cole Hamels earlier.
Our fifth starter?
Yes. Interesting conversation he had with Bob Nightingale. In his first interview since 2014 ended, Hamels isn't demanding a trade. He isn't about to become a malcontent in the city of brotherly love. He says he wants to begin a new chapter, and the Phillies do as well. Obviously, we know that. They want to get rid of him. Mm-hmm. Now, what it says in this article that I've never heard before is Phillies brass wants prospects. Padres offered Hunter Renfroe and Austin Hedges, but was not enough to sway the deal. Amaro would also like to pass along as much of Hamels' debt as he has, how much debt they would have to take over $96 million over the next 4 years to the potential suitors. A reason to expect Hamels not to be dealt. Hamels was asked, would you like to be a San Diego Padre? Of course I would, Hamels told Nightingale. It's a fun city. There's no better feeling than having a chance to win every year, and they give you that chance. I'm all ears.
I think actually that if the Phillies came and offered that trade to him right now, Cole Hamels for I don't think the Padres would now, to be honest.
Maybe
with you.
not.
I don't think the Padres
not after
would.
getting James Shields.
Right. I think
you're right.
I think that the value, believe it or not, even though not one pitcher has reported. Pitchers and catchers report sometime soon, don't they?
Tomorrow.
That's right.
I'm not going to work. No, I'm just kidding.
Tomorrow, the battle for number 5 begins.
Before one pitch has been thrown, I think his value has actually gone down, to be honest with you, because I think a lot of the other teams, I think that the Phillies were asking too much, and I think none of the teams were going to go for that. And now they've all kind of moved on. Everybody seems to have moved on now. Would you like to have Cole Hamels? Absolutely. Absolutely, I'd love to have him. We need a 5th starter.
You guys know more about baseball than me. So, and I just want to pass along something that I heard. Maybe you guys can either shoot it down or just tell me it's right. I'd heard because Hamels is from San Diego, correct?
Yes.
But I heard he never grew up a Padres fan. Wasn't a big fan of the organization when he left.
No, he talked crap about it.
He talked crap? Okay, that's right. That's what I heard. So
have the Padres done anything to make anybody a fan of the
hey,
organization?
you're a fan.
And it's not like he came out and said, and he bashed the Padres.
Right.
And he just said, I would never want to play for that team.
Right. Yeah.
That was a long time ago.
Right.
Now, what I didn't think of, and I know that we've all thought about this, when the Hamels talks was heating up before the James Shields deal, obviously we're very right-handed in the lineups and in his order as bats and also in a rotation.
Yeah.
So getting a lefty of Cole Hamels' stature would have been top priority probably for A.J. Preller. I don't know, man. I think in hindsight, if the Phillies could do it over, they would have taken the deal.
Oh,
and
yeah. I think
Preller maybe would have had them eat a little bit of that contract, not all of it. Maybe a la Matt Kemp deal. Take some of that burden on themselves, maybe $15-20 million. You get the rest of it, and you have voila a James Shields type deal right there. So I really think they were probably gunning for him, but Phillies weren't budging at all.
Right, and I think they're sorry they.
I think they are sorry now.
So here's 2 things. One, obviously the season hasn't started, so the chances of Cole Hamels coming here is still present.
Right.
But here's my thing. I think if it's going to happen in San Diego, it's going to happen before the season starts, because once the trade deadline comes and there's more playoff suitors, guys that are contending, I think his market goes back up again. I think if the Padres are going to get him now, they have to get him now. I don't think they can wait and get him at the trade deadline, and was it July 31st? I don't think they can wait till that point to get him because his market goes up.
Yeah, no, I actually see the other side of it. There's no point to invest that money in him now. And then if you get him at the trade deadline, you're only paying half that contract.
Yep.
If you really need him for that stretch run. And then you can make moves in the offseason to unload salary.
Go ahead. You didn't raise your hand. You didn't raise your hand.
Go ahead, because I'm going to go a little bit different direction.
Okay, and I wanted to make the point clear. I think Preller was after one free agent starter, and that was it. And he got his guy. I think he realizes he has a plethora, I'm going to steal Josh's word, of great pitching now for that 5th spot.
Yeah.
There was no need to go out and get another guy. So I think we're done in that market. But yes, injuries happen, but we're so loaded in depth with our pitching staff. I think it'll be just fine if we get an injury.
Yeah, I think that although the door's not shut completely on Hamels, I would say he's most likely not coming here. But I had an interesting conversation earlier this week. Let's say that the Padres get to the trading deadline and they're battling with the Dodgers for
the division,
or for the playoffs or whatever, and the Padres need to, let's say they need to add a shortstop or a closer. That's the one thing that they're going to do that's going to get them over the edge. So they, at the trading deadline, they trade Renfroe and I just lost the other Hedges, both for a closer or a shortstop, let's say, either one. And we end up winning the World Series. And both of those players who go to the other team both become Hall of Fame players. Was the trade worth it?
Yes. Of course.
Yeah.
You give anything to win a championship.
I want a parade.
Okay, so
I don't care.
You know what's funny is I was same
awesome, by
both
the
of
way.
you. I was just like, absolutely,
yeah.
but I didn't know how you guys were gonna.
Because at least once in our life, we could always say we won.
We could finally have a championship in
So
San Diego.
now let's backtrack a little bit. Then let's go back all the way. You guys are gonna have to bear with me here because you guys weren't really I don't know if you guys were even born yet. 1984.
Hot tub time machine.
I was
Let's go, guys.
-1.
1984.
Hot tub time machine. Let's
Pretend like you weren't. Pretend like you were a young 11-year-old.
How old are you, Mike?
Just discovering his
I'd
body.
be 2 at that time.
You were 2? Are you talking about yourself? Yeah. You're in your 30s already? Man, you're old.
Thanks,
Okay,
man.
so let's say you're a 11-year-old and your beloved Padres are going to the World Series. They're making their they're making their playoff run, and the trade deadline comes, and they had the opportunity to trade Tony Gwynn for a whatever they traded for, and they ended up winning the World Series that year.
Yes.
Opposed to
Now,
getting
Tony
swept.
Gwynn ends up being a
Tony Gwynn.
Baltimore Oriole,
Hall of Famer.
Hall of Famer. Would you have been, would that have been worth it?
Yes.
Yes.
At the
Okay.
time.
Okay. So okay.
At the time, yeah, everything looks good.
Because now we would have not had. You've all experienced Tony Gwynn's career and
The-
how much he brought.
But the
from
end all
championship-
is you're telling
Okay.
me we're going to get a championship.
So you would have rather had a World Series in '84 than had Tony Gwynn's career.
This
what
is
you're
kind of
saying.
like the Malik Pope.
Yeah.
No,
First of all, I'm
sure.
on board with all of you because I would have rather had a World Series than Tony
Well,
Gwynn
if in
as well.
2006 you told me we had to get rid of LaDainian Tomlinson to win a world title, I'd say get him out of here
Well,
as fast as possible. I'll drive him to the airport.
We ended up getting rid of him anyway.
I understand, but not in 06. It was
Right.
in his prime.
Right.
But yeah.
So, okay, I just, what's funny is I thought that might lead to a bigger discussion, but everybody thought exactly the same way I did.
I want a ring, man.
Yeah,
it's all about the ring.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no matter how you get there, it's the championship.
Ring is the thing.
Especially when you don't have one. When your city doesn't have one.
Right.
You know it's like not to have one.
If you want it, just put a ring
Well,
on it.
SoCal
Right.
Trav was 12, so he's my age then.
He
If
is.
any of the
Wow, you look good for your age, Trav.
if any of the Lobo fans want to see what rings look like, just go to my Twitter page. You can see all the Aztecs Sweet 16 rings.
Yeah.
Did the Lobos play last night?
They were there. I don't know if they played.
They were in their own building, weren't they?
I think they had a home game.
Was
I
it called
think.
Wise Pies Arena?
I think they had a home game. I believe.
Or Wise Guys?
Okay, so answer me this. That game last night,
Riddle me this.
was this where it all begins, or is this one of the steps forward that we're going to take before we take a step backwards?
No,
Because that's how this season's been.
Right.
You're right. It's been two
steps
forward.
one
Yeah.
step back.
I'm with
Yeah.
you.
So
Safe
is
to
this just one of the steps forward now?
I think it's a step forward because they've shot over 40% for 3 straight
Consecutively.
games since that Boise State game, and their offense is looking better. And like we talked about, there's no one guy, so it can be anybody.
But since they've gotten Pope more involved, they seem to be have a little bit more
Pope
success.
is playing a lot more, if you notice. And the other day, when they play the other day, Colorado State, they only went 8 deep.
Yeah.
And Cho played 3 minutes.
Kari Allen didn't even see the
Yeah,
floor.
so it was Pope and Kell,
Yeah.
pretty much the whole game with the 5 starters. Yes, Joshua,
So-
I'll acknowledge your finger.
Observation,
No,
and
no,
this is
no.
actually an observation from my wife.
Whoa.
But she said,
Stop
early
licking
on,
your nose.
before we went on this little bit of a run, the Aztecs offense was slow. And what she meant by that, the guys were just standing around. The ball wasn't moving around the perimeter. They weren't going inside and out. Over the last 3 or 4 games, that has changed. They've moved the ball around. It's been faster paced. And I think when you do that, you're going to have more success because, guys are going to make mistakes. They're going to collide in the paint. You're going to open up avenues to, get those scoring opportunities. When you're just standing there stagnant and it's like, I'll give you an example. It's like the Kobe situation. When Kobe's in his prime, he gets the ball. Everybody stands there and watches him. And I feel that when Quinn
Isolated.
gets the ball, they were just standing there and hoping
Right.
that he would score rather than getting themselves in a situation to score themselves.
I agree with you, and I think from the beginning of the year we were in the Maui, and people were like, "Wow, this is gonna be a great team." We beat BYU, we beat Pitt, and people were like, "Wow, this is a great offense. They look very good." And you got back into league play, and people were like, "What happened to the Aztecs? Why are they inexperience started to rear its head, and they finally got into that rhythm in the offense, and now we know who's coming off the bench, what point in time they're coming off the bench, how long they're going to play. There's a nice flowing sub in and out going on. Fisher's really got it down. I really like the flow right now.
Yeah, a lot of people are freaking out. Now, it's funny, I go on message boards.
No, don't go on message
I know.
boards. It makes you more
but you
mad.
see people like, oh, yeah, 3 weeks ago, I'll give it to Fisher. He's plateau.
Yeah,
and I was like, oh, the offense is looking great. Oh, what are they doing different?
Time for Brian Dutcher.
They're not doing anything different, guys. I mean, like I said, I've coached.
Yeah, they are. They're not shooting 20%.
No, exactly.
No, but they're not doing anything different. They're running the same plays. They're just running them better now.
Right.
I've watched them. It's the same thing. Give it to JJ. And
Looks
let
like
him
the
move.
screens are more crisp. Ball screens are all, and people are getting open shots.
I mean, it is like the same kind of thing. Really quick, we have some breaking news music for me. Not breaking news, but no, I do want to mention something. I mentioned to you guys I want to talk a little bit recruiting, and I want you guys to be aware of something that's in play.
What?
That's very interesting.
What?
All right, so as we know, the Aztecs have one scholarship for 2015, 3 to 4 available the next year because if
next season.
Well, they have one for next season. They still have one left over, right? And we're pretty much done recruiting everybody for 2015. I want to throw out a name out there: Nolan Narain, 2016 power forward, 6'9", from La Lumiere School, which is where Brandon Cyrus plays.
Okay.
He's a 2016 recruit, possibly reclassifying in 2015. So.
Oh wow! So he could jump into next year's class.
Not a lot of people know that. Gonzaga's an early favorite for him right now. He went on his trip to Gonzaga. Didn't sound overly impressed.
Is he 5-star?
He's actually a 3-star.
Really? I don't like him.
Yeah, I know.
I'm just kidding. We don't do those anymore.
Yeah,
remember?
but,
3-star. He's out.
He's moving up on those boards, and just a name to keep an eye on.
Athletic, good. What's his deal? He's a wing, right?
He's a power forward, 6'9". I'm looking at his profile, 205 pounds for a 6'9".
Well, wings at State are 6'10" or above now.
No,
come on, man.
So just something to keep an eye on. A lot of people don't know they think about reclassifying. With that open scholarship, we've missed out on a lot of guys that reclassify. So, and then Zach Collins.
So have you heard San Diego State's in play, right?
Oh, he's in play. He's coming March 7th to visit on campus, which is senior night.
Oh,
so he'll be here for senior night. Time to blow them away.
Do we play San Jose State? We beat them by 70.
We play Nevada.
Oh, okay. Even better.
We play Nevada. So it'll be an interesting one. Just something to keep an eye on. Like, so people haven't heard much about him. Someone brought him up the other day.
Very
but
cool.
no one's talking about his reclassifying, which is important.
Well, hit on the guy that did commit.
What is reclassifying? Explain that.
So he finishes high school early and then graduates a year early.
He's supposed to be in that 2016 class.
Okay.
And eligible for the 15, graduates, and then he's eligible to get in college.
They usually graduate, take summer school to finish the rest of their units, and then they go into college a year early.
Boy, has he hit
puberty
yet, though?
And teams miss out on, colleges miss out on those because they've used up their scholarships and they don't save one.
Yeah,
That's
exactly. Most schools, fill up theirs, but we have one because we have that extra. We missed out on a lot of guys this year.
Hit on our new commit, Keith Smith.
Keith Smith, man. So he's torn meniscus. He's out for the season. This year.
So he's another Malik Pope. Okay.
Okay.
Perfect.
People. He's actually torn the meniscus twice.
Perfect.
Malik Pope.
He broke both legs.
Which is kind of concerning. But the return time's not that bad. I think it's 4 to 6 weeks.
Right.
But he's out for the year. 6'8", I believe, 6'7", 6'8".
4-star.
4-star. I think
stars are stars, but
ranked 55 in 2016 by Rivals.
55?
Number 55.
Wow.
In 2016, really good player, good shooter. Obviously needs to keep working on a shot to expand it. A good rebounder, athletic, typical Aztec recruit. But his shooting is not great, but it's above average.
What I want to know though, are either of these guys on Chad Ford's board for 2017 draft?
I don't know.
Chad Ford's an NBA guy.
Yeah.
That's my point. Are they one and dones? No.
No, and then just an update on Zach Collins, who was here with Keith
the white kid, right?
With Keith. Keith Smith.
I can't believe we're recruiting a white guy.
He's been doing his rounds. It sounded really great when he came. Obviously some things his dad mentioned. His dad's handling his recruiting. He plays behind 2 5-star top 15 recruits this year, 2 seniors. So he hardly gets playing time. He plays at 3 mostly.
At his high school?
Yeah, Bishop Gorman High School.
In Vegas?
In Vegas.
Wow.
And we're in the top 5. Again, Gonzaga's also Gonzaga's the favorite on him. I think Gonzaga's also one of the favorites on him. But a big thing. He went to Gonzaga, seemed to love it there. But we're also very much in play. His dad was actually handling his recruiting and was very impressed with the Aztec staff. Mentioned how Steve Fisher and staff seemed like the most genuine people in the world that they've met in this whole recruiting thing. So that speaks volumes. I think a lot of these guys, when they come here, they're surprised and they love it so much because you see Silent Cheatham, you see this true family.
It is a family.
I mean, my friend's a big Arizona fan, and they're talking about how the guys have to like plan things to do together. Like they have to plan events to hang out together. These Arizona recruits who are coming in for 1 year. While you see these guys,
they're like buddies.
Yeah, they
Instagrams,
genuinely love
Twitters,
being with each other.
Now, when you're getting recruits to come to San Diego State, we have a legit program.
Mm-hmm.
We have a legit team. We certainly have a legit coach.
Got $1 million practice facility being built.
Exactly. We have a legit facility. We have all of that stuff going for us. Is one of the main deciding, because all of that stuff is A+ here at San Diego State now. Would you say one of the most deciding factors on whether or not somebody comes here is going to be playing time? Is that
there's different reasons?
Is that one of the deciding factors, you think, or one of the more important deciding factors now?
Every recruit has different reasons. One of them being, the conference they're in. A lot of kids, still love to play in the Pac-12. They don't want to play in the Mountain West.
You mentioned Gonzaga and stuff, and Travis in the chat room, I think he's gone now, but he said, who would want to play for Gonzaga?
A lot of people.
Right, but I'm wondering
why.
Why would you want to play with Gonzaga when you could play for San Diego State?
Yeah, well, I mean, also like Gonzaga, their coach,
Mark.
No, I'm sorry. The one of the assistants worked in the NBA.
Forget his name though. It starts with his name's Mark. So.
No, it's Mark Few.
Mark Few. Yeah,
but one of his assistants was like an NBA guy, and they've put some big guys like Kelly Olynyk and some other guys into the NBA. So if you're a big guy,
they got John Stockton's kid on their team.
You look at them and go, "Oh, look, they put these guys in the NBA." So some guys look at that.
Is it also like style of play? I mean, San Diego State's known as a defensive. They play really strong defense. So if you're let's use Kobe. He plays. Let's use I don't know. If you play a style that's not conducive to running back and playing on defense, is that going to make you maybe
you
shy
probably won't
away?
get recruited by San Diego State.
Or even if you're being recruited and you're kind of considering that, are you going to maybe shy away from that thinking, what, I'm more interested in kind of going down to the other end of the court, and I'm not going to get playing time if I
that's definitely that's definitely one of those things. And there's also guys that are like big guys. The biggest thing is for us finding big guys. We find athletic big guys because
skinny guys
because we don't play positions. Everybody freaks out like, oh, what position? We don't play back to the basket big guys.
That's why you don't see like the old Brian Carwells that are here, like the 200-something pounders.
It was one of those things, and that's what Colin's dad said. He said, "Oh, it's surprising they do use their bigs," which was, I guess, something that people have negatively said about San Diego State, that we don't use our bigs.
Right.
And the dad said, because it was against Utah State when Spencer and Scholl went like for 10 for 10 or 10 points, 10 rebounds combined.
Yeah.
And they're like, they do use their bigs.
Right.
So that was something that he mentioned that was negative comment.
Darren in the chat room makes a good point. The hot girls here at San Diego State, do you think that honestly has anything to do with where they choose? I mean,
it all goes into
State's
play.
known as they got a lot of really good looking girls there, and do you think that is going to be a
wow? We got Merv the Perv over here.
I think Jason still has eligibility left.
Yeah,
he's trying.
We got the beach. You got great weather. Who wants to go back east? Who wants to go?
I will always remember when Zylan Cheatham came here for his recruiting visit, and I remember he left, and this is why I thought he was going to come to San Diego State. He said, "Best night of my life," and later on, I find out I didn't know what happened that night. Apparently, I found out there's this big, party that he went to, where it was like, like a big, like kind of, big frat party, out somewhere, and it was like, big event, and he had a great time, just that social scene, and like just hanging out with the guys, hanging out with Dakari and Diero that time, and so that stood out in my mind, and I always had that in the back of my mind, like he's not gonna go to New Mexico. He was adored there, but he had fun, like he enjoyed himself here.
Well, that was a little creepy over there too. Now, it's gotten to the point where Pac-12 teams, it's all West Coast. You got these big USC, they struggle with recruiting now because they're just not there yet. UCLA's good, but it's crazy that recruits are picking San Diego State over the bigger conference teams, but they know if they come to San Diego State, they have a shot to win a conference title, NCAA tournament, pro recognition, scouts. That all plays in, and they've been doing it for years now. So that's like you said earlier, the facilities, the atmosphere. This has gained so much notoriety over 10 years now. It's commonplace. People go, oh, San Diego State, Steve Fisher, oh, NCAA tournament. one of the best home crowds in America. It all just pops in their mind now. So for me, it's the girls, it's the beaches, it's the campus. It's a great campus. You see all the time the pictures on Fox Sports, and it's a great place to live. Why wouldn't you want to come here?
Yeah. You'd be interested to know what, like you said, Justin, what our national perception is. It'd be nice to hear a fan
from
a
Texas.
College basketball fan from another part of the country hear what his perception
from
of
Kansas,
Aztecs.
A casual basketball fan.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
I'd be interested to hear that because
is San Diego State really on the map?
Right.
You know?
Or is that just is that our perception because we're here, we see it every day, we hear about it in the news,
right?
That's
a good point.
So is that really the perception of the Aztecs? Are we really on that level yet? Are we on the Kansas level, the Duke level? I don't think we're there yet. Our Gonzaga. They
get national notoriety.
Early 2000s is when they basically blew up, similar to what the Aztecs are doing now. And now they are a national
program.
They are a national program, and are the Aztecs there yet?
They are a program status.
Based on what I've seen message boards that are like basketball recruiting message boards, we're looked at as like a good program, and a program that's solidifying himself,
but not elite yet.
We're not elite.
No,
we're not a Kansas, but having players like a Malik Pope, who we need those players that stand out at during March Madness, that really the whole nation's watching and go, wow, that Malik Pope guy,
San Diego State,
exactly. I mean, but it's no longer the days where San Diego State. You guys have a basketball team. It's definitely not that. People definitely know San Diego State as a team. Yeah. They definitely know that they're a good team. They're a good defensive team, especially when you see Kentucky games and they show the top 4 defensive teams, and number 3, San Diego State
is on the ESPN telecast.
And to further state that, Kawhi Leonard, when the Spurs were in the NBA championship, they're talking about Steve Fisher. They're talking about the Aztecs.
Yeah, I think that helped.
I remember that.
Stuff like that is huge for this program.
We were talking about that. I remember talking about how important.
Yeah, he's up at the line, and they're like, "This kid's from San," and it just was like, "Wow, that is." The ultimate recruiting tool. You're on,
and then he wins MVP. I mean, it couldn't have gotten any better,
right?
At all. And I think we're gonna, unless you guys have more to talk about, I think we're gonna wind it down as well. Brandon, we appreciate you for calling into the show. Trav, as always, Jake Hefner from ProFootballSpot.com.
Check him out.
He's got some good stuff coming up on the stadium situation as well. So if you want to hear his take on that, go to ProFootballSpot.com. You can find us on iHeartRadio, iTunes, SanDiegoSportsJunkies.com. We have been a little lax on the website, but we're going to try to,
we'll be picking it up when the Padres season really gets going. There's not a lot to talk about right now. When it gets going, I think we're going to, one of the things that we got a lot of last season, especially the first half, was a lot of fan articles on the Padres, and we really look forward to.
And that was when we didn't have a team.
Right.
Oh, cool.
And that's when we were.
This year's gonna be better.
There's a lot to talk about and a lot to write about.
And our pockets are empty, but if you guys, especially our diehard fans that are in this chat room right now and listen to us every week, if you ever feel free to write an article, if you want to put it up on the website, message us, email us, call us, text us.
We'll put it up.
We'll put it up on the website. But even more so, we can add you as an administrator of the website, and you can help put us content on the site as well.
Supercharger wants to remind you that he made too. So yes, we got you, bud.
I'd also like to add. I want to bring back the forum page during the year, we did
during the baseball games.
Yeah, maybe it's a night game at Petco, and we're at home lounging around. Maybe grab a beer. We can all hang out on the forums. And just talk Padre baseball. Maybe we can get that ramped up again. Maybe it'll be more popular this time around with better players and
meet up with us at FanFest.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, we're planning on a fan fest.
We'll be there.
So
we'll be there for sure.
Josh has got a Facebook page going.
For those of you who aren't on Facebook, we're planning to meet up in FanFest. We're planning to get a big following there. We can take over a section of Petco Park as they take on one of the Mexican national teams.
Right.
Los Toros Locos. I'm just kidding.
El Torito.
During FanFest. It's April 4th. I think the gates open at 8, if you remember, 9 o'clock for everybody else. The game starts at 2.
Right.
It's free to everybody.
Josh will be doing balloon animal tricks, and I'm bringing my banner so we can take pictures. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, come on down, see Matt Kemp, Justin Upton.
Josh will personally introduce him to you.
Bring the kids. Jason's
Absolutely.
doing face painting.
Right.
I'll be doing face painting. Next to Josh doing the balloon animals.
I'll be in the dunk tank. I'll be in the dunk tank. Yeah.
But seriously, come on down, guys. We're gonna be down there April 4th. It's a Saturday. Padres Fan Fest. It's going to be a good time. It's free.
Yep.
Parking's free. I mean, the whole thing is free. Just come down, enjoy yourselves, be able to see this product that we're so excited about for the first time in San Diego in Petco Park.
Is it a Saturday?
It's a Saturday.
Dude, I'm going to be there super early. I'm going to go to the pub.
The pub?
Get some suds.
All right.
The pub.
Well, then go to the pub and say hi to Justin.
Well, I'll go hang out there.
All right, guys. This is the San Diego Sports Junkies, a show for fans.
By the fans.
And we are out, gentlemen.
Ain't never been there, they tell me it's nice. I live in hotels, tear out the walls. I have accountants pay for it all. They say I'm crazy, but I have a good time. I'm just looking for clues at the scene of the crime. Life's been good to me so far.
Thank you for listening to the San Diego Sports Junkies, a show for fans by the fans. Brought to you by Cali Comfort, home of the low and slow barbecue, and SK Digital Imaging with Josh Taylor, Justin Smead, Jason Eidsmoe, and Mike Maciejewski. Subscribe to us on iHeartRadio, on Spreaker, and on iTunes. Visit SanDiegoSportsJunkies.com for all your Chargers, Padres, and Aztecs news.